Dear students, today I am going to start a new poem, and the name of the poem, it's a very beautiful poem by Sarojini Naidu, and the name of the poem is The Bangle Sellers. Okay, so before we go into a detailed discussion of the poem, let me tell you in brief about the poem, that is what the poem is about. See, this poem, as I told you a little while earlier, is written by a very prominent Indian poet, and of course one of the foremost fighters for India's independence, Sarojini Naidu. Okay? The Bangle Sellers, what does the poem deal with? The Bangle Sellers is a poem which essentially explores the life of Indian woman. It is a poem about the life, or rather the different stages of the life of an Indian woman, and it also talks about, as the poem talks about Indian woman, we also get glimpses into Indian culture and Indian traditions that revolve around the lives of women. So in this poem, the poet is talking about the lives of Indian women, and by extension the cultures and the traditions of India that revolve around the lives of Indian women. See, if we read the poems of Sarojini Naidu, in most of the poems we will find that Sarojini Naidu basically writes on themes that deals with the culture and people of India. Most of Sarojini Naidu's poems deal with the life and culture of the people of India. You know, her poems basically focus on Indian settings. Her poem basically focus on Indian settings, and you know, this particular poem is also not an exception. Even in this particular poem, we have an Indian setting. As I told you before, the poem discusses about Indian woman and the traditions and cultures of Indian society revolving around the woman. In fact, if you talk about the Indianness of the poem, when we discuss about the Indianness of the poem, this poem is comparable to another poem of hers, another very famous poems of hers, which was there in your syllabus, the earlier syllabus, and that poem is the Bazaars of Hyderabad. So this particular poem, the Bangle Sellers, is quite similar in its theme to another of her famous poems, that is the Bazaars of Hyderabad. Now see, this particular poem revolves around bangles. As you know, bangles are a very essential ornament, a very popular ornament that is worn by Indian women. So this particular poem revolves around the theme of bangles, which is a very important ornament of embellishment. Embellishment means what? It adds to the beauty of woman. Okay, embellishment matlab something which adds to. So bangles are very commonly worn by Indian women to add to their beauty. So it is a very common jewelry in the Indian society. Here in this poem, we have some bangle sellers. These bangle sellers are sitting at a temple fair. Okay, these bangle sellers are sitting at a temple fair, and what they do, you must all have visited fairs, and you find in fairs what happens. The sellers, they cry out their wares to attract the passers-by to buy the goods they are selling. So here also we find the bangle sellers, they shout out to the passers-by to have a look at their bangles. They describe the quality of the bangles, and they shout at the passers-by to buy these bangles for their daughters and wives. So this is basically what the theme of the poem is. Now before going into a stanza-wise summary of the poem, let us discuss in very brief the form and structure of the poem. See, the entire poem is divided into certain stanzas. The poem is divided into certain stanzas, and each stanza focuses on a particular theme. The poem is written in such a manner where the poem is divided into certain stanzas, with each stanza describing a particular theme. See, the first stanza, what does the first stanza deal with? The first stanza deals with the merchants or the vendors who are selling their bangles. They are there at a temple fair. They are, crying up their wares. They are shouting out loud to the passers-by about their bangles. And in the next stanzas and the stanzas that follow, in those stanzas, the sellers describe the various colors of the bangles. And the colors of bangles, not only bangle, the colors of the dress the saris that women wear, the colors of the lipstick that women wear, the colors of the other kind of ornaments that women wear, the colors of the other kind of embellishments that women wear, or for that matter, the kind of dress that even men wear. It is always different according to their age in life. A young boy, the kind of colors a young girl will choose, the kind of bangles a young girl will choose will obviously be different from the kind of bangles an old woman or a middle-aged woman will choose. So here we find in each stanza, the sellers are describing bangles that will attract to women of a particular age group. See, as far as the rhyme scheme of the poem is concerned, what do you mean by rhyme scheme? Rhyme scheme means, see, if we go to the first stanza, see the first stanza last word is beer. So this pronunciation beer, if we name it as A, then see the next line is fair. Beer and fair, these are similar pronunciations. So these will be AA. Next we go to bright. So see, this is another kind of pronunciation. Let us name this B. And the fourth line is light. So bright and light are same. So this is also B. Then we go to lives. This is another kind of pronunciation. Let us name it C. Then we go to wives. This is also similar as the fifth line. So let us name this C. So what is the rhyme scheme? The rhyme scheme is AA, BB, CC. So this is the rhyme scheme being followed in the poem. Now see, if we go to the second stanza, it is wrist and mist. So let us name this D. So it is DD. Next we go to dream, stream. So this is EE. Next we go to cleaves and leaves. This is again FF. So again we have DD, EE, FF. Or if we start naming this, the rhyme scheme in this stanza again from AA. So this will again be AA, BB, CC. So you can say that in this poem, the poetess follows the basic, in each stanza, the rhyme scheme that she follows is AA, BB, CC. Now see, what the poetess has done, the language in the poem is not very complicated. The words that she has used are quite simple. It is very simple for the readers to understand, and through the use of these very simple words and simple languages, she has used certain similes. Similes means comparisons. She has made certain comparisons which are very appropriate, and they have added great beauty to the poem. So this is the basis of the poem. This is the this is a kind of prelude to the poem. I have discussed the theme, the structure, the rhythm, the rhyme scheme of the poem I have discussed. I have told you the basic theme, and now let us go into a stanza wise reading of the poem. Okay, see, what does the poet, I have told you that in the first stanza what happens, we find some bangle sellers. They are sitting at a temple fair. They are crying up their wares. What they are selling? They are selling bangles. So they are crying up, or they are extolling the beauty of their bangles to attract the attention of the passers-by, so that the passers-by buy these bangles for their wives and daughters. So what are these people saying? The bangle sellers are we who bear our shining loads to the temple fair. We will buy these who will buy these delicate, bright, rainbow-tinted circles of light, lustrous tokens of radiant lives for happy daughters and happy wives. So bangle sellers are we are the bangle sellers who bear, that is, we carry our shining loads to the temple fair. So we carry our loads, and see, they describe their load. What is their load? Their load are the bangles. How they describe their bangles? They say that our bangles are shining load. Why shining? Because when the sunlight falls on the bangles, the colorful bangles, the bangles shine. So they say our lords are the colorful bangles. They are shining. Who will buy? Now they say who are going to buy? They address the people. Who will buy this delicate, bright, rainbow tinted? Tinted means colored. Who will buy these rainbow colored bangles of circles of light? Why circles of light? Bangles are circular in shape, and when the sunlight falls on them, they seem to, shine more brightly. They seem to reflect the light. So the bangles are called as circles of light. So the bangle sellers cry out. They ask the passers-by who are going to buy these very colorful bangles that they are selling. See, here the poem begins with the speakers. In the very first line, you have the bangle seller saying, we who bear, we. So who are the speakers? The speakers are we. And who are these we? The we are the bangle sellers. So the bangle sellers, the poem begins with the speakers introducing themselves as the bangle sellers who sell their bangles at a temple fair. As I told you, they are crying out to the people to buy their bangles, and they describe their bangles. How are their bangles? Their bangles are delicate. That is, they are to be handled with care. Rainbow tinted. Rainbow tinted means they are of multicolors. Circles of light. That is, the bangles are circular in shape and they reflect the light of the sun. So they appear to be circles of lights. They advertise, these bangle sellers are advertising their products by asking, who is going to buy their bangles for their wives and daughters? See, it is very important to note here, obviously, in this temple fair, there are many bangle sellers who are selling their wares. But the way the poem is written, the way the poet has written the poem, it appears as if a single person is speaking. A single bangle seller is speaking. But in the first line, you have the word we. So it is quite clear that there are many bangle sellers. But the poet has written the poem in a manner as if one bangle seller is there present selling his bangles, because, the purpose of all the bangle sellers is the same. All the bangle sellers cry up their products, advertise their products in the same manner. So what the poet has done, the poet has given them a single voice. Though there are many bangle sellers, she has written the poem in a manner as if a single bangle seller is speaking, because all the bangle sellers are saying the same thing. So the poet has given them a single voice in this poem. So here you have a class essence. So she doesn't refer individually to all the bangle sellers. She speaks as if, she writes the poem as if this class of people, this class of bangle sellers, they speak in one voice. So it appears as if a single speaker is speaking. See, once again you have this line here in this stanza which says that the bangle sellers here are, the bangle sellers, they call their bangles as lustrous tokens of radiant lives. Radiant means happy lives. Radiant actually means shining, bright. So when we apply this adjective radiant to the lives of people, what does that basically mean? It basically means people who are happy, people who are prosperous. So naturally, see, bangles are something which adds color to your life. It's a jewelry, it embellishes your looks. So when would you buy such luxury items? Such luxury items you would buy when you are happy. And when you have the money, when you have the extra money to do that. This is not a necessity of life. So you buy bangles when you are having that extra money. So naturally, these bangles are bought by people who lead a very happy life and very prosperous life. They are prosperous. They have the money to buy the bangles. Therefore, the bangles basically bring out the radiance of the life. That is the happiness and the joy and the prosperity of the life of the people who are buying these bangles. So this also adds to the Indianness of the poem, because you find that Indians, on all happy occasions, before festivals, before other happy occasions in their lives. For example, before marriage or any other happy occasions, before festivals, when a happy occasion comes in their lives, so they buy, the women folk buy bangles. So naturally, bangles are associated with joy and happiness and prosperity in the lives of the people. So this is the first stanza, my friends. In the first stanza, we find certain bangle sellers. They carry their load of bright and shining bangles to a temple fair, and there they cry out to the people around them to buy their bangles. The bangles have been described by these people as delicate, as lustrous, and as, tokens of radiant, that is happy, prosperous lives. So this is the bangle sellers, the first stanza. Now we go to the second stanza. Summer meet for maidens' wrists, silver and blue as the mountain mist. Some are flushed like the buds that dream on the tranquil brow of woodland stream. Some are aglow with bloom that cleaves to the limpid glory of newborn leaves. Okay, now see, in the second stanza onwards, the bangle sellers or the speaker describe in great detail the kind of bangles they have. Okay, see, some bangles, he says, the speaker says that some bangles are suited for the wrist of a maiden. Maiden means a young unmarried woman. So some bangles are suited for the wrist of a maiden, that is young unmarried woman. How are these bangles? They are silver and blue in color. These bangles are bright silver and blue in color, and they resemble, because of their silver blue color, they resemble the mist on the mountain side. That is, বাংলায় যদি বলি, পাহাড় যে ঘন কুয়াশা পাহাড়কে ঢাকে, সেই কুয়াশার যে সুন্দর ডেলিকেট কালার, these bangles are of those colors, silver and blue like the mountain mist. Some of them are flushed. Flushed color means reddish color. They are pink and reddish. They are pinkish and light reddish, like the flower buds, the delicate flower bud. Their color is like the delicate flower buds that probably are growing in some woodland beside a stream. Woodland means a lightly forested area. So some of the bangles are silver and blue like the mountain mist. Some other are flushed, that is, they have a pinkish and reddish color, delicate pinkish and reddish color, like some flower growing where? In a woodland by some stream. There are others which have a very light green, beautiful light green color, a light green color of great beauty, like newborn leaves. These newborn leaves on trees, they appear very delicate and very fresh and very beautiful. They have a beautiful light green tinge. So some other bangles are there which appear like that. See, the life of a maiden is a tender life. The woman is at a young age, tender age. So you see, the colors of the bangles resemble all tender things in nature. Buds. It's not a fully bloomed flower. It's a growing flower, a bud. It is not a fully grown leaf. It is a tender leaf, the colors of a tender leaf. It is not the color of a fully developed cloud. It is the color of a light mist. So see, all the similes, all the comparisons that the poetess has made with the bangles in this stanza are with things in nature which are newborn and tender, because she says these are the colors, these are the bangles that will appeal to the tastes of a maiden, that is a woman who is also at a tender age. See, in Indian society, bangles have a very important religious and cultural significance. You know, bangles have a very important place in our cultural and religious life. And different, women of different age groups, they wear bangles of different colors. In different stages of their lives, women wear bangles of different colors. For example, I will give you an example. You find married women in India, or married Bengali women rather, they wear shakha and pola, that is a white color and deep red color bangle. So that particular combination of bangles is not worn by a woman who is unmarried or a woman who has become widowed. So we find in India that women, bangles have a very important significance in the lives of Indian women, and particular color of bangles are worn by women of a particular age. So now see these blue, silver and green bangles and this flushed, that is the reddish color bangles, these are normally worn by young women. See, it is very interesting to note that the poet here uses the use of the words flushed, like the birds that dream. This is a very important use. Why? The word buds is young flowers. Buds here actually suggest chastity. Chastity means young women who have not yet entered their marital life, that is, who are innocent, who have not lost their virginity. So this word buds speak about the sexual purity of an unmarried young maiden. And the the use of the words buds that dream. What is the significance of this phrase, buds that dream? It means it creates an image of young girls who are just about to enter their marriage lives, and therefore they dream of the next stage of their life which they are about to enter. They have dreams, they have bright dreams about their marriage lives. So in this stanza, the poet basically speaks about the youth in the life of an Indian woman. So in this stanza, the bangles that are being sold, from the color of the bangles, it becomes quite obvious that these bangles are meant for the young unmarried women, the women who are about to enter their married life and they have great dreams about their marriage. Now we go to stanza 3, okay? Summer-like fields of sunlit corn meet for a bride on her bridal morn. Some like the flame of a marriage fire, or rich with the hue of her heart's desire, tinkling, luminous, tender and clear, like her bridal laughter and bridal tear. See, in the third stanza, how does the poetess, or we can say, how does the bangle sellers describe their bangles? See, here the colors have changed. Here she describes the colors of the bangles as the fields of sunlit corn. See, corn is what color? Corn is bright brownish yellowish color. And when sunlight falls on a field of ripe corns, when the bright yellow sunlight falls on a field of ripe corns, what happens? The corns shine even more brightly. Bangles of this color, this bright orangish, yellowish color, made more bright by the falling sunlight, this color is the color of passion. This color is the color of joy, happiness, passion, love. So this color goes very well with a bridal morning for a bride. A bride is about to enter her marriage life with all kind of expectations. So this color is very suited to a bride on the morning of her marriage. Some bangles are red in color. There are some bangles which are red in color. And see, these bangles, these red bangles, they represent the flame of love or the flame of passion that is also reflected in the marriage. When the marriage fire is lit, what is the color of the marriage fire? The color of the marriage fire is also bright red and orange. So the red bangles that are spoken of here are worn by a woman who is getting married, because the red orangish, bright red and orangish flame of her marriage fire is also reflected in the red color of her bangles. Now what is this red color symbolic of? See, red color is symbolic of, as I was saying just a little while ago, red color is symbolic of love, desire and passion. So when this woman is entering her married life, these emotions, the emotions of love, the emotions of physical desire, the emotions of passion, these are certain emotions that she is feeling now, and that those emotions are being reflected in the marriage fire as well as in the red color bangle that she is wearing now. The red bangles, as I was saying, the red bangles also stand for the desire of a heart. The bangles, how are the bangles? These bangles are tinkling, luminous, tender and clear. Luminous, shining, tender. Bangles, all bangles are tender and they are very clear. They express, what do these bangles express? These bangles express, at the same time, these bangles which are being worn by a woman being married, they at the same time express the joy of the woman at entering a new life with her husband. She is joyful to enter a new life with her husband, but at the same time, there is a sadness. Here is the use of the word, the last two words of this stanza, bridal tear. Tear is sorrow, sadness. There is also a tinge of, there is also a hint of sorrow and sadness. Why sorrow and sadness? Because she is unhappy. She is happy on the one hand because she is entering a new life with a husband, but she is at the same time sad and sorrowful because she is leaving behind her father's home. She is leaving behind her father, mother and brothers and friends who had been so important to her in her previous life. So this, my friends, is the second stanza. Now we come to before we go to the fourth stanza, let me discuss a little bit more here. See, the use of the words, my friends, bridal laughter and bridal tears, as I have told you, it's a very striking word, very poignant, very meaningful phrase that has been used here. This one line of the poem brings out the entire transition, the change, the vast change that takes place in the life of a woman. The entire change, the entire transition, the total change in scenario in the life of a woman is brought out by this one line. Because now the woman changes from a maiden to a wife. And all the emotions attached with this transition. See, what are the emotions? She is happy, she is expectant, she dreams about her coming life, about her future life. The future life is a life of responsibility, life of love, life of desire, life of passions. So a great life, she is full of dreams for the future life. But at the same time, at this critical time of her life, she is also filled with sorrow. Why sorrow? Because she leaves behind, it's like a new birth for her. She leaves behind her old life, the old home, the old people, the people with whom she has grown up all this while, the place where she has grown up all this time. She leaves that, and as if she enters a new birth, a new life, as she enters the house of her husband. So this entire transition and all the emotions, the joy, the expectations, the dreams, as well as the sorrows, all the emotions of a woman's life at this critical stage of transition is expressed in that one beautiful line, the bridal laughter and bridal tears. Okay. Now we go to stanza 4. In stanza 4, let me read the stanza first. Summer purple and gold freckled grey. Was she who has journeyed through life midway, whose hands are cherished, whose love has blessed, and cradled fair sons on a faithful breast, and serves a husband in fruitful pride, and worships the gods at her husband's side. Okay. So in the final stanza of this poem, this is the last stanza of this poem, here the bangle sellers continue to advertise their bangles. The bangle sellers continue to advertise their bangles here. They shout that some of their bangles are purple and gold flecked grey. That is, some of their bangles are purple in color. Purple is a straightforward color. Some are grey color, fleckled with gold. That is grey color bangles, and there are markings of gold on the bangles. Who are these bangles for? These bangles are for middle-aged women who has journeyed, who have covered a substantial part of their life. They have crossed their youth, they have crossed the early part of their marriage life, and they are now in their middle ages. So they have crossed a substantial part of their lives. These women, they have fulfilled great responsibilities. They have raised their children well. They have remained very faithful to their husbands and to their family. So these bangles are, so as to say, for those women who have been perfect housewives and who have perfectly maintained their household with pride. You know, they have taken this, maintaining a household is not a menial job, it's not a servant's job. It's a job of great pride. A woman who has looked after her husband, who has looked after her family, who has dutifully raised her children. And she worships the gods at her husband's side. That is, she has remained faithful to all her familial duties. She has remained faithful to all her household duties. So the bangles that are being described or advertised in the last stanza, see one thing is noticeable, that the colors used here are mellowed, are once again, a little bit mature colors. They are not light colors like flushed pink or light green, or the colors of the mist, the light grey and light blue. Nor are they bright and shining, representative of passion in the second stanza. Now the colors are mature colors, because the woman has attained maturity, not only maturity of body, but maturity of thought, maturity of spirit. So these are for matured middle-aged women. See, in this stanza, you can also understand, by reading this stanza, you can also understand the poet's, that is Sarojini Naidu's ideas of a good Indian wife. What are the qualities that Sarojini Naidu expects in a good Indian wife? You can get an idea of that in the last stanza. Such women deserve the purple and gold flaked bangles in her eyes. So let me, what are these good qualities? Then see, the good qualities of a Indian woman, married Indian woman, according to Sarojini Naidu, are that she remains dutiful and faithful to her husband, care of the upbringing. She takes great care of the upbringing of her children, and she performs all household duties, like praying to the household deities and all other deities, all other duties of the household with great pride and dutifulness. So these are basically the qualities of a good wife in Indian society, and according to Sarojini Naidu. Now see, here we should also pay, you should pay attention to the word sons. See, she says, see here, she says, and cradled her fair sons on her faithful breast. That is, she has raised her sons on her breast. She has taken care of her sons. Why? An Indian woman doesn't have a daughter. She wants to say children, but probably Sarojini Naidu has used the word sons because, to mean offsprings. She has used the word sons to mean both sons and daughters. It could be a coincidence. It could just be because the word sons fits into the poem here. It helps her maintain the rhythmic balance of the poem in this line. It could just be that. It could be, hote pare uni ekhane sons word ta kono consciously use korenni. She has just used the word sons here, karon tate kobir ei line tar rhythm ta is better maintained. or it may even be that she has used the word sons consciously to mean children, because during Sarojini Naidu's time, the Indian society believed that to have sons, it was preferred to have male offsprings. In Sarojini Naidu's times, it was preferred to have sons and not daughters. Having sons was considered a happy omen, a good woman, a sign of prosperity. So, my dear friends, this is this very beautiful poem written in 4 stanzas about the bangle sellers, the kind of bangles they wear, and through that the poet has brought out the different stages of the life of an Indian woman. Please go through this poem. If you have any difficulty with any particular line or word or phrase, whatever, please give me a call and feel to ask me. Thank you so much. I will give you the notes very soon.